And we have as a guest Ms. Carol Holt. Carol, welcome to In the Upper Room.
Thank you.
And Carol, as you know, John Shuford has been on our program many times.
Yes.
And we share your passion and in highlighting the importance of what your program does. But for those at home who may not have seen you before, can you please tell us a little bit about your portion?
Thank you for having us on.
Yes.
By the way. A portion of the reentry that I participate in mostly is Prison Ministries, and it's an organization that started, a nonprofit organization that was started in 2001, and it was birthed out of the Prison Fellowship, which is an international organization. The major part of the purpose of creating Prison Ministries was for the purpose of getting a chapel for the women, who was the only facility in Delaware that did not have its own chapel. All the male prisons had one and the women's did not.
Yes.
And Faye Whittle, who is the founder and the executive director for Prison Ministries, had worked faithfully for years trying to get that done and was successful, and they dedicated the chapel recently. They dedicated the chapel over at the women's prison for that. So that was the portion. Now, for reentry aspect is as a mentoring program. We train volunteers to participate in the reentry program. That aspect of it is to have a mentor for those individuals who are coming out of prison.
Oh, okay.
To develop that relationship that will not only be while they're in prison, we engage while they're there,
right.
And then we follow them and build that relationship so that it is a relationship that extends for as long as they would like it.
Mm-hmm.
The benefit, obviously, of that is they don't get dropped off at the end of their prison because there are needs that continue beyond that, and
right.
there are relationships that need to continue. And there is that shoulder they need and the hand that needs to be held, that our desire is to have them not to go back into prison.
Let me ask you a question. How do you pull, from what pool do you get your volunteers? I mean, are they coming from the churches, or do you include ex-inmates who have successfully transitioned back into the community and they go back and want to give something back, you know, in terms of...
Well, we can't use ex-offenders because they can't go back into the institutions. There are those stop gaps.
Yeah.
If you are an ex-offender who is, let's say, in the drug treatment program,
mm-hmm.
and you've gone through all the process,
yeah.
and you can go back as an employee, but as a volunteer, mm-hmm. there are some restrictions on who can go back into the institution and do volunteer work.
Right, but I'm saying on the outside, or without going into the institution, is there capacity
yes.
for them?
There is
because
capacity.
They are a part of the community now.
There is a capacity for that, for
right.
them to, and sometimes most helpful because they've lived the experience that those people that are out have to experience.
Right.
We pull from everywhere. We did a press release several years ago and asked for those individuals who wanted to be mentors, and we got people from all walks of life who wanted to come into the training. And we certainly do involve the churches in the communities and ask them, those that have prison ministries.
Right.
One of the problems we have, however, though, is that there can be a lot of territorial kind of turf protection.
What do you mean, interagency? Or?
Well, in a church that we already have our program, and it's kind of, you know, we do our thing and
mm-hmm.
we do it this way. And there is some resistance sometimes on saying, okay, let's pull together because the strength is in the numbers that are going in the same direction and have the same goals.
Right. You know, and that has been a theme that I've heard repeated several times in terms of having a cohesiveness of effort. And I don't know what that's all about, Carol, but it seems to me like, you know, if you share a goal, you, at the very least, you can be comrades, you know, because you have a combined focus. And if you don't become confidants, at least you can become comrades.
Correct.
You know, and fight this good fight.
And we strive to do that. I mean, there's resistance on all sides. We have difficulty getting into the prison sometimes, even to see those that, you know, I've been a mentor for many years.
Yeah.
And the rules change, and different things change. We have the support of the commissioner. I've talked to him, and the governor now has that support. And there are some of the wardens who are extremely good about seeing the benefit of the mentoring program and whatever. And there are others who are less interested or see the benefit of it. So we're working on all avenues, and the Delaware Reentry Consortium, which John is the executive director of right now, is pulling together. We're trying to pull together because ours is for the entire state, and trying to work on, we're working on a 5-year plan right now, a strategic plan that hopefully pulls lots of organizations together, and we establish what the overall goals are so that everybody buys into those overall goals, and we can start seeing some outcomes. I'm really big on looking at measuring our outcomes so that we know what we do is effective.
Right. You know, this may not be connected, but I don't see how it would not be. With the stimulus, you know, package and all of these funds going to help different causes, are causes like yours receiving particular backing either from a local jurisdiction or federal jurisdiction? What is that focus, you know, on prison reentry? Is it getting the level of support is what I'm asking.
Well, I have to give the previous administration a little bit of credit on the faith-based initiative, which our current president is continuing.
Okay.
Those faith-based initiatives allowed us to participate in 3 or 4 different grants that they are giving because they've seen the benefit of that.
Yes.
Okay, and that money is going to continue. As a matter of fact, what's happening is that it's getting more focused and there's more accountability, which is what I would appreciate as well, so that we're giving those funds out.
Yes.
And in giving them out, we need to actually measure the results of that, so they go out to those organizations that consistently produce results.
Right.
And that's what so inside that stimulus situation, there is the hopefully an opportunity again to participate in some of the grants that are out there so that we can continue the work that we're doing and pull together, right, and get it together so that we can all work together, because there's so much that needs to be done.
Right.
Reentry is very, very significant, because I always tell people that when people leave the prison, the way that they re-enter it is they could commit a crime in society.
Yes.
So we're all at risk if this doesn't work.
Yes.
And so there's a great benefit.
Right.
And when they're in the prison, we have a captive audience. We have an opportunity to teach, to alter, to change, to if we can help to change your thinking, then we can help. We can certainly help to change your lives, and that's what our goal is.
Okay, and you mentioned about the fact that there is going to be accountability attached to receiving these funds, and with that said, I believe that is going to cull an element of those who may not have the spirit of the movement at heart.
Correct.
Because, you know, sometimes people do things for personal gain, sometimes people do things for popularity, but when you are doing something as important as what you're doing, and you will be measured on your effectiveness,
Correct.
then you can't do things halfway.
No.
You got to give it your all, or else you're going to have to move on.
Right.
Well, listen, Kara, I just thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And we know that we will be talking further with the Delaware Reentry Consortium and your prison ministry. And so come back and see us again, okay?
I'd love to.
All right, please stay tuned and continue to watch In the Upper Room as we take a short break. Again, I am your co-host, Michael J. Riley.